Good old-fashioned butt kicking. No excuses, no nothing. Their coaches did a heck of a job preparing their team. Obviously, we didn't.
Do you believe? Do you believe? Now's the time for all the bandwagon fans to get up on out of here. Because let me tell you, nobody is going to sit here and say Colorado is going to win each and every game. They went against a really, really good football team with the Oregon Ducks at their stadium, and Oregon played exactly how I expected them to. Fast. They scored chunk plays. They were really, really crisp. And that goes to Bonix, who started his 51st college football game. I repeat that again, his 51st college football game. It got to be some kind of record, because at the year end, he's going to have 60 starts, and that's crazy. Anyway, I'll get to that in a little bit. But we all knew Prime and them weren't going to win each and every game. They were 1-11 last year, and that was caused by the Pac-12 becoming arguably the best conference in Power 5. Now, to me, not arguable, they're the second best conference in the Power 5 behind the SEC. You had the Heisman winner last year, and much of the Pac-12 was in the top 25 by year end going into this season. So with that, we start. I'm going to go over the pregame, the first, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, but let me tell you, it was over by halftime. My previous video, I talked about the keys to win. They didn't follow that shit. I'll tell you that right now. One of the things that just stuck out to me was I didn't see an offensive game plan, and I just didn't see it. Shedeur was sacked a lot. He was sacked 4 times by halftime. The offensive line didn't show up. To me, shadeur dropping back is not the plan. He is a fantastic quarterback. He's able to make stuff happen, but I didn't see the commitment to running the ball. I did not see them trying to help out the defense. So the video that I did where I said Colorado needs to do this, these are the keys to win, they did not follow my keys. They didn't follow anybody's keys, because let me tell you, number one was they did not slow the Oregon Ducks down in the first quarter. I said that specifically. Looking at that box score, they tried to get out and boat race people, because that's what some of the anonymous coaches said. They try to boat race people, meaning score as much as possible in the first quarter. And they scored 13 to Colorado's nothing. The Buffaloes didn't start fast, really didn't start at all. To me, they won the toss. Not taking the ball first was a mistake. You look at their box scores from the previous games coming in, not taking that possession to me was a mistake. Even if they don't score and they just take 7 minutes off the clock with their drive, that's great. So they take 7 minutes and then it's only however much to the rest of the second quarter, and maybe they score once, maybe they score 10 points, whatever the case may be. They didn't withstand the first quarter. They only had 1 interception because that was a great, fantastic play. Bonix threw his first interception. But outside of that, there was nothing really defensively to champion. They didn't cover receivers. The Troy Franklin kid had 126 yards and 2 touchdowns by halftime. Special teams were not special. They gave up a fake punt by the Ducks, and they did not follow the Texas Tech blueprint whatsoever. But I'm going to get to all of that. We're going to start with the pregame stuff. I really had reservations on the Colorado Buffaloes losing yesterday. Not pregame, but yesterday. And I'm going to tell you why. So you have the Buffaloes getting to Oregon. They go straight to their stadium. And here's the thing. The logo stuff, I can completely understand and recognize that was done to them 2 weeks prior. You know, Nebraska came in, disrespected the logo. I'm sure Colorado State tried to do the same thing, especially with that big melee they had before the game started and them playing dirty. I get it. They wanted to maybe, you know, get some get back and do that against another team. But let me tell you something. It wasn't just Trevor Woods, but there's a lot of different Buffalo players on there. My college coach would always say, don't do that type of stuff, because the people that do that type of stuff are losers. And what he meant by that is, more often than not, and he's right, you do that type of stuff, you're not going to win the game because you're worried about everything else and being disrespectful. He was making a big point to us saying, you don't have to respect the stadium you're going to. He gets it. You just want to get in there, kick somebody's ass, get the win, and get out. But he said you don't have to respect the place, but you don't have to disrespect the place. And when you get on people's logos, you disrespect it, whatever. Did that have any bearing on the game? I don't think so, because Oregon, to me, was going to win anyway. But let's go into the pregame. It was cool, you know, packed stadium. They did their colors. It was really nice. Phil Knight, the billionaire, was out there balling. You know, that was cool. Again, bonix started his 51st game in FBS. That is the most by far of any active quarterback. To me, this is his job. He's going to be 24 going into the new year, and he knows, to me, he knows how to compete. I mean, he's going to have 60 starts at the end of his college career, you know, if he doesn't get injured. He was very, very comfortable at running their offense. He's very, very comfortable at big games. It wasn't a big game to him. When I saw him before the game doing his pregame stuff, it was just business as usual. The first drive was really easy for the Ducks. They started fast. They had a holding penalty that moved them back to the 35-yard line. One thing that just stuck out to me was Oregon's speed. This was the fastest team Colorado played thus far. Overall, fast receivers, the ball comes out fast. They had athletic and lean offensive linemen. It needed some time for them to settle down, which I think, to me, again, I think it was a mistake not taking the ball first to be able to see the speed of how Oregon was doing. The Ducks scored a touchdown with 10 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first quarter. That's really, really fast. The running back got into the end zone. It just seemed really, really easy. Again, they didn't follow the keys. You got to withstand the first quarter, and they didn't take the first possession. Ducks started fast. The first drive for the Colorado Buffaloes needed to avoid a 3-and-out. They did not. They gave it right back to Oregon's offense. I mean, it went really fast. It was a quick throw, completion. It was a deep throw that was a little bit off, a quick throw to the horn, and then it was a bad punt. Great field position for the Ducks, and I just couldn't think of a worse start. Now, the defense, after the first drive, they started to settle and make tackles, but the Ducks were still converting third downs. They're a really, really good football team, and they're ranked. I mean, it is what it is, and they have a good coach. It was a nightmare first quarter for the Colorado Buffaloes. The time of possession in the first quarter had to be crazy. It just had to be, because it felt like throughout the game, Oregon always had the ball. Oregon's offense always had the ball. Now, they were about to force a field goal where it would have been potentially 10-0, but it was a personal foul by 55. I think it was ticky-tacky. Then they went on to score. The scoring play they had, it was a quarterback fake draw pass. It was kind of like a play on Tebow, but bonix basically quarterback drew it and then threw out to the flat, and they scored a touchdown. Now, the 2-point conversion was perplexing to me, but in hindsight, my only thought is they do it for analytics and you know, trying to get up on the opponent. Again, remember, they were looking to score 15 points in the first quarter. They were at 13, and they thought, hey, we could hit this here. And then that's how they get rolling. They turn a 2-possession game into a 3-possession game. So if they get 15 in the next quarter, it's 30 points. So it's not the traditional 28 points. So maybe that's where they were going. But maybe they saw something on film where they thought they could get the 2-point conversion for the first one, but they didn't get it, all right? So it's 13-0. The second drive for the Buffaloes came at 2:41 left in the first quarter. That is insane. Oregon had the ball way too much. It really did. So the second quarter came. Again, a shout out to Shiloh. I think he can really thump. He's really can put himself in positions to make huge tackles, but that wasn't going to be enough. Number 6, the running back for the Ducks, was running on them a lot. He set up the play action fade to Troy Franklin, who I talked about before. He also got the 2-point conversion. It was 21-0. Worst case scenario. I mean, that the scoring play to Troy Franklin, it was set up by that mesh play action, and you know the Buffaloes had to honor it. Franklin had a fade route 1-on-1. Travis Hunter isn't there. I mean, he's their best receiver. I'm assuming Travis Hunter would have been on him, could have seen what would have happened, but it was a touchdown. And then I cannot say this enough. The offense was abysmal. They did another 3-and-out. The Buffaloes finally got a turnover. It was the first interception of the year for the bonix, and to me, I wrote down at the time, in the nick of time, because in Madden, 21-0, and you don't get a turnover, that's a swag. But I mean, it's whatever. You know, Shedeur was getting tossed around. A lot of coverage sacks, but A lot of it was the offensive line breakdowns. He was getting beat up, and Franklin was decimating their defense. I'm talking about Troy Franklin again. It was 28-0. When he got the ball, when Oregon got the ball, they threw it deep to Franklin. Trevor Woods looked back like, is this a breakdown? He didn't know what was going on. Another defensive lapse. He didn't know if he was covering him or someone else was covering him. Didn't matter. 28-0. And for the first time since the season began, to me, the Buffalo's defense looked tired. And that can happen when the offense has a bunch of 3-and-outs and the time of possession is so disproportionate. The Buffs went into the half with 2 timeouts, and to me, that was a coaching error. When Oregon is moving the ball like that and the offense has so many 3-and-outs, those timeouts need to be used to spell the defense. Bonix rushing touchdown right before half was a lot of fatigue that it just set in. The Ducks started to break tackles. Like, the Buffaloes were in the right position, there to make tackles, but the Ducks were fresher and running through them. And that's just tiredness. They 35-0 at half, and the Duck has just been doing a lot of push-ups. That's what he's been doing throughout the whole game. So I was able to look at the time of possession for the first half. It was 20 minutes, really almost 21 minutes for the Oregon Ducks and 9 minutes for the Colorado Buffaloes. At this point, my note was Bo Nix is firmly in the Heisman conversation. Lanning, the coach for Oregon, called the Buffaloes a flash in the pan. We were going to show them substance, and they made that exact statement by halftime. Even with Travis Hunter, I think it would have been lopsided. Again, Troy Franklin had 8 receptions, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bo Nix, oh my gosh, I mean, his numbers were sick. He had 217 yards, 3 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. He had only thrown 1 interception. He had placed himself firmly back in the Heisman conversation. The third quarter was really whatever. I mean, the game was over. They scored again. It was 42-0 Oregon Ducks. The fourth quarter came. It was out of hand. They took Bo Nix out of the game. Nikoreed sighting, he had a pass breakup at the end. And towards, I think, 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Buffaloes finally got in the red zone. To me, it was their first red zone trip, true red zone trip, with a Xavier Weaver long gain, Mikey Harrison touchdown, 42-6. Of course, the point after touchdown was not good. I mean, all you can say about that is at least no shutout. Ball game. USC up next. Caleb Williams is coming back, the reigning Heisman winner, and he definitely wants some of that Heisman momentum back. My thoughts on the game again. University of Oregon is a really good team. They really, really are a good team. They're long, they're athletic, they have depth at a lot of different positions, and they have an experienced quarterback, an overly experienced quarterback that can really run the offense. With that being said, where was Dan Lanning before? He was in the University of Georgia, where he saw that. You know, you got Stetson Bennett, you got a really good built-out football team, and I think they wanted to send a message not only that Texas Tech was not as close as it should have been, but we're actually the big dogs and not necessarily the Pac-12. I think that game was for bigger than the Pac-12. I think that game was for the SEC to put them on notice. Now, you know, they'll go through. They got to beat USC. They got to beat Utah and all this other stuff. But Oregon looks like a really good, great offensive team, a really good defensive team, and overall a good team. I do envision them being in a top 10 relatively soon. I think the Buffaloes are going to fall out of their ranking. I mean, I think they were like 19 or whatever. They're probably going to fall out of the top 25. I mean, you know, it is what it is. They keep winning games, they're going to get right back into it. Now, for the Colorado fans, theoretically, you could see Oregon again. If Colorado continues to win the rest of their games, they are in prime position, and Oregon wins the rest of their games, they could face off in the Pac-12 championship game. So you could see Oregon theoretically again, and hopefully they are more up for the game. They were not ready to play this football game. They got hit in the mouth. It is what it is. Sometimes football games are like that, especially going on the road, especially having a tougher game the week before and not having as much time to prepare, because you got to remember it was a double overtime game. They had to cancel the practice on Sunday and then go into game planning against Oregon. I mean, that's what happens. And Oregon is looking like definitely one of those teams that are going to be there vying for a college football playoff spot. So that can flip and be changed. So it's not like I said, it's not the end of the world. Everybody knew that Deion Sanders wasn't going to win each and every game. It is what it is. So you win some, you lose some. Heritage Sports.
This is teams are trying to beat me. They're not trying to beat our team. They keep forgetting I'm not playing anymore. I had a great career. I'm serious. I got a gold jacket, ain't back. So I'm good.